Hey there, and welcome to Antifragile Faith, where we practice training our awareness of God's presence by practicing Christian mindfulness. So, when we're training the mind, when we're sitting in silence and there's no distraction, it can be really easy to drift towards a sleepy state of mind, where you feel quite lethargic, or to drift the other way towards a feeling of agitation or restlessness. An important part of this practice is finding that sort of sweet spot between the two, recognizing that you may need to apply more or less effort depending on where you're at that day. Just like every other part of this practice, this takes, practice to find that balance. And I encourage you to lean into that, to become aware of that sense and trying to find that balance, while also recognizing that it's going to take some time. And with that, let's begin again today. As always, start with a few deep breaths. And at some point, allowing your breath to return to its natural rhythm, and if you'd like, gently closing your eyes. Allowing your awareness to rest on the breath, noting each breath if that helps, counting 1 on the in-breath and 2 on the very soft and subtle out-breath, 3 and 4 and so on, until you get to a count of 10 and starting over again. Turning your attention inside now, just to check in on how you're doing, getting a feel for where you're at, getting a read on how you're doing. There's no judgment here. We're just practicing cultivating that sense of self-awareness. And turning to God. Whatever state you're in, wherever you're at, giving that to Him, recognizing that He is here, right now. Growing our comfort in the quiet, becoming more familiar with His presence. Note any emotions that come up in recognizing God's presence. Perfectly okay if nothing comes up, but if anything does, just be aware of that and note that. Remember, though, that we're not after a feeling, but a sense. a recognition and awareness of His presence, and eventually, increasingly, familiarity with that presence because we do recognize it. The moment you recognize you're lost in thought, come back to this exercise and turn back to God. And if you want to, if it helps, run the routine. Breath, heart, God. Resting our awareness on our breath, our heart, and then turning to God. And taking a few breaths as we come to a close today, and pausing for a moment before you move on to appreciate this chance to practice and train your awareness of God, and also taking that awareness of God into whatever you have next. And with that, I hope to see you again tomorrow.